She slid the paper across the polished oak table like she was doing me a favor. Cool, deliberate, with the kind of practiced grace you only master when you've traded empathy for ambition. It was printed on Chris Company letterhead, the numbers bold, sharp, and unyielding. "Accept the 60% salary cut," she said, loud enough that the junior analyst 3 desks away could hear. "Or I'll find someone who will." My wife, no hesitation in her tone, no flicker of remorse in her eyes. Just that flawless corporate armor she wore so well, polished, proud, rehearsed. I stared at the paper in silence. Behind me, someone stifled a chuckle. Heads turned, then quickly pretended not to. But they were listening. All of them were. "I need 24 hours, I said, voice calm, unwavering. I didn't blink. She smiled, tight, professional, victorious. That night, I made one call. They had been waiting. It hadn't always been like this. We met in the break room 7 years ago, back when the company still felt like a dream being built brick by brick. She just joined HR, all sharp wit and fast ambition. I was already leading product development. We clicked, shared coffee, shared ambition, shared nights talking about vision, strategy, legacy. I admired her. She was unapologetic, intelligent, rising fast. We fell in love, or at least I thought we did. Marriage came after our first IPO. She called us a power couple. We told ourselves we were building an empire, and maybe we were for a while. I built the engine and she polished the chrome. Together, we helped scale the company from a startup with 15 hopefuls to a force of 300. Then came the board reshuffle, the restructure, the men in suits who smiled like snakes. And her, she pivoted faster than anyone, became the board's golden mouthpiece, started showing up in meetings I wasn't invited to, speaking in jargon that felt sterile and unfamiliar. At first, I chalked it up to stress, new pressures, higher stakes. But soon, she stopped coming home with ideas and started bringing home directives. I ignored the signs, dismissed them, told myself we were just weathering the next storm, until she made it public, until she chose humiliation as a tactic. In that moment, when she laid down that paper in front of my team, the very people I had mentored, protected, carried through recessions and layoffs, she made it clear I was expendable, and she didn't even flinch. I remembered her email from 2 nights before. "Let's not bring work into the house." But she already had. That's when something inside me shifted. The pain didn't erupt. It cooled, hardened. It calcified into something precise, focused. I didn't weep. I calculated. My first move? A competitor. The one she laughed off in meetings. "They're bleeding," she'd said once, swirling a glass of red wine, desperate for ideas. They weren't. They were rich, hungry, waiting. I made them a one-line offer. "You give me equity in silence. I give you a surgical strike." They said yes within the hour. Step 1. I backed up every piece of intellectual property I had ever touched, designs, models, architecture. Not to leak, to prove authorship. Step 2. I reached out to the company's original CTO, the one she helped push out in a political bloodletting a year ago. He was bitter and ready. Together, we began laying the foundation for a new product, faster, sleeker, smarter. Ours. While she thought she'd sever my oxygen line, I was already building a new set of lungs. Step 3. I played the long game. I showed up to work the next day, cool and collected. I signed the salary cut paperwork, sat in meetings, nodded along as she spun the narrative, how sacrifice was leadership, how tough choices were necessary. She had no idea I'd already scheduled my resignation to hit the board's inbox 5 minutes after the curtain dropped. On the morning of the shareholder meeting, I arrived as usual, wore the same ID badge, walked through the front doors like I still belonged. No one questioned it. Old habits are hard to break. At 9:05 a.m., as she stood on stage delivering charts and projections, the competitor made their announcement. A near-identical product. My product, but cleaner, faster, already patented. My name, right there on the architecture. Screens lit up across the room. I watched the panic ripple, first in the finance director's face, then the CTOs, then the investors. She kept speaking until the first phone buzzed. Then the next. Her voice cracked. She faltered. She scanned the room and found me. I smiled. During the break, she pulled me aside. No fire, no fury, just fear. "What did you do?" she whispered. I leaned in. "Exactly what you taught me." I said, "I found someone who would." The fallout was instant. By noon, stock had dropped 17%. By day's end, 31%. Major contract vanished. Investors fled. My resignation arrived exactly as planned, an elegant blade to close the coffin. She tried to control the spin, called it sabotage, accused me of breaching NDAs. But I hadn't. I wrote those NDAs. I knew the loopholes. I knew every line, every clause. And more importantly, she was the one who violated board protocol by forcing executive pay cut without approval. She was the one who weaponized HR policy in a public forum. They turned on her by Friday. No farewell email. No press release. Just an empty office and a flurry of legal threats. I heard she tried to sue. The competitor hired a lawyer who was smarter. People think revenge is loud. It isn't. It's quiet, cold, surgical. It's knowing exactly when to strike, not just how. She played chess like it was checkers. Thought shaming me was strength. That gutting my pride would keep her in control. But real power isn't in the theater. It's in the silence, the planning, the patience. I didn't yell. I didn't fight. I let her pull the pin. And I handed her the grenade. Now I sit across town. Top floor, floor-to-ceiling windows. My own team. My own rules. I build. I lead. I create. And sometimes, when the coffee's hot and the day is calm, I check her LinkedIn. Still says open to work. Poetic. She tried to reduce me to 40% a man. Now she's worth less than zero. And me? I'm just getting started.